ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So we will chant the Shanti mantra from Kenopanishad also. Om Apyayantu mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramato balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastvanirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirateya upanishadsu dharmas te mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so last time we saw up to verse 3. So now we will go to verse 4. So verse 3, just to recap, it said that speech cannot reach Brahman, or our sight also cannot reach, mind also cannot reach. None of this actually can reach it. So 5 senses cannot reach Brahman is what was said. So what it meant was that objectively you cannot get Brahman as an object, like an object. It is not like an IPL match which mind can watch. So it's not like that actually. So in that sense it was said that 5 senses do not have access to Brahman. And I think the tricky word which was said last time was, it is not that it is a known thing, and also it is not that it is an unknown thing. So the context was that it is not a known thing is in the sense that it is not known by 5 senses. So that is what it meant. And when it is said it was not an unknown thing as well, it meant that without that nothing happens in any case. The very concept of knowing belongs to that Brahman only, which is Chit, that consciousness. The very concept of knowing is that only. Knowledge is that only actually. There is nothing else other than that as knowledge. That is knowledge. So based on that, everything else right from space exists. So that being the case, obviously, this is not something which is not known. It is very well known. So that is what it meant actually. Now, when we go to verse 4, it says, Yad vachan abhyuditam yenevag abhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. So, now it goes to the next step. So now earlier it said that speech cannot reach Brahman. Na tatra chakshur gacchati, na vak gacchati. So vak cannot reach. That's what it was said. So now they are saying that may you know that alone to be Brahman, which is not revealed by speech, but by which speech is revealed, and not this and that which people worship as an object. So, a couple of things are being clarified here. Anything that people worship as an object. So here it is very clearly said, anything that is material, anything that is worshipped as an object is not Brahman, because Brahman is that which is all pervasive, which is totality, which is everything. So when someone says that statue worship is not valid because the totality is everywhere, and how can you fix that in one statue? So there the idea is different actually. Since the Lord is everywhere, since Brahman is everywhere, he is right now here, and he can be invoked in any form. Even on my laptop it can be invoked, and I can do puja. For example, if someone has to be woken up, we don't touch the whole body to wake him up, or we don't heat up the body to wake him up, actually, like putting it in a microwave oven. Even when something is put in microwave oven, to the extent I think the light has, the wave microwaves, they have access to the uh, water particles therein, only they get activated. I'm sure there must be some part probably which is quite at the bottom which may not get exposed, and hence it may not get even activated, actually. That's possible. But then if we have to wake up a person, it is not like, we have to heat him up from all the sides or touch everywhere to wake him up. Actually, we just touch either his head or feet, just tap twice and say, boss, please get up. So like that, the all pervasive Brahman can be invoked anywhere, even in a small mustard, it can be. So anything to do with Murti Puja, what we have as a step is coming from that concept. But a person who has come to Vedanta, he has already matured from all this, from Upasana, he has already gone to the next step. So that's the reason he can take this particular statement here, what is said. Nedam yadidam upasate. Not this and that which people worship as an object. That is not Brahman. Brahman is that which is totality, and speech cannot reach there. In fact, speech itself is created and dependent on this Brahman. So, this is what is mentioned here. So, to a person who is into Upasana, and Upasana is not wrong, as I mentioned, it is quite justified in that sense what I said, because that's a starting point. So, when we do Upasana, obviously people connect with any kind of deity whom they invoke in that particular deity, any god in whom they invoke in the particular deity, either Krishna, Rama, whosoever, and they even have conversation with that particular deity, their own personal deity. This happens. So, in that sense, a person is speaking with the deity, actually. So here was what it is saying. Yad vachan abhyuditam yenavag abhyudhyate. Speech cannot reach there. So it is not like, we are not saying that, we are not just calling that person and saying that, boss, you are talking to Rama, please understand your speech cannot reach Rama. So it is not being said to that person. To that person, it's very clear Rama is his Lord and he is able to converse with him. It is quite valid. That can be fine. That's nothing wrong in it. But when that person has already matured to the next level, he's saying, fine, I want to see Rama everywhere. How do I see Rama everywhere? Other than only from a Bhakti Bhava, I want to assimilate him as knowledge. That's when a person comes to Vedanta. That's where Mumukshutvam, that's what Mumukshutvam is all about. So, in the peak of Bhakti, for example, when a person goes up to a level of invoking Rama anytime, anywhere, he understands that Rama is every time here with me. Okay, a person can go maximum up to that level, like the way Meera did. So, a maximum people can go to that level is that, they see their personal Lord everywhere. See, in the sense they feel, in the sense they just feel whatever it is. They just know the Lord is everywhere, and then He's there. For them, world, when we see the Triputi model, wherein sadhaka and the sadhya is basically, as of now, it is Lord and world as such. But then, in the wake of this bhakti, in that distance when it is covered, world is already gone. First, you have Lord, world, and oneself. And to people who have that kind of a bhakti, that distance is already traveled. They have already traveled towards the distance towards their personal God as much as possible, to an extent that world almost tends to become zero. So world's problems are already gone there, actually. The only last mile, even if you have to say last mile, if you maybe in the context of reaching the Lord, I think last mile is a very small distance, perhaps we can say, even if it's a mile. But let's say last micro millimeter. So, or even, microns kind of a distance we can say, or nano distance we can say. That nano distance still exists in Bhakti Bhava, because the person thinks there is a difference between himself and his personal God, or the personal God is supposed to be the total God actually. That distance is still there. In Mumukshutvam, in Vedanta, that distance has to be killed, that distance has to be traveled and killed, and there should be no more distance at all. So that's where space goes off actually. World goes off, a doubt, a small doubt remains between oneself and the object of bhakti. That's when that is Dvaita Bhava, wherein a very small fraction of distance is still to be traveled. That distance can killed only by knowledge, not by any other thing actually. Bhakti can take us up to that nano distance. There's no doubt about it. But that nano distance can only be killed by knowledge. It cannot be killed by anything else other than that actually. So, in that nano distance also, speech can work in Bhakti Bhava. In that Bhakti Bhava, definitely in that distance, definitely speech will still work. Hey Lord, please protect me. You can always say, even at that time. But there, he is still different from you, from your own construct, because you need to still use your thought to invoke the Lord. Just imagine, for uh, for example, I'll take Mahadev's example here. If Mahadev wants Mahadev himself, he need not think at all actually, he is himself already. So the distance of thought also is not there. But if Mahadev wants to invoke Lord Krishna, he has to use thought. Hey Krishna, he has to think. Either he may give a form inside mentally or not, but that sound has to be invoked. Hey Krishna, that sound has to be invoked. But if he has to invoke only himself, even a thought is not required. There is nothing called invoking also. He is always available actually. So that's what one has to understand. In Vedanta, the person, when he wants moksha, he wants basically to cover that last micro and nano distance actually. That distance to be covered is what is the effort in Vedanta, and that is what the sadhaka wants. That he doesn't want any difference. He wants it ultimate actually. He doesn't want ultimate as an object given to him, because anything that is given as an object, he is himself seen. The way world disappeared, that will also disappear. Anything that is an object of five senses has to be world. It cannot be anything other than world. It is world. Because five senses only can go to that level. It cannot go beyond that. Then the question is, okay, then how does Vedanta work? Vedanta works with sounds. It is a part of a sensory object. Sound is a part of sensory object. That's where the point comes in. Sound is not just sound. Sound includes concepts and the spirit and the meaning within it. That's what is an amazing part of sound. Shabda Pramana. That is why it is Shruti. It is a Shabda Pramana. So the sound makes this kind of a difference because it packs meaning into it, and that is how it goes into the mind and creates the vritti which is required for understanding the ultimate. Why and how it is able to do? Because the locking that happened through ignorance is because of a wrong idea. And a wrong idea can be planted only in mind. That is where the unlocking of that also has to happen. It cannot happen on the body, and it cannot happen on anything other than ourselves. For us to be cute, we can't send our relative to hospital. We have to only go to hospital. Similarly, that mind which was locked, which was made to understand that that mind is different from everything else, and it only has the immediate proximity and it owns this body because of which it is existing, and everything outside the skin is an outside world to it. And to a larger extent, it can have a mental bondage due to which it will own relatives, items, this, that, everything. And it can to a larger extent, it finally becomes a mental bondage, not a physical bondage. We may, for example, of the 9 planets, one of them may like Venus a lot, or someone else may like Jupiter a lot. They will have all these stones also, which represent some of these gems which represents these planets. So There is a physical bondage and there is a mental bondage. Mental bondage is much more bigger than the physical bondage. That's where we kind of feel that we have the Samrajya. Trump feels, no, he's definitely, fit for getting this Nobel Prize. He thinks Greenland is his. He is into the Swarajya mode actually. Everything is his Rajya, is what he's thinking. That's okay. That's a nice thing. So, in this sense, when we travel that final distance, you get that ultimate, then you are that actually, you are everything. So that's how it works. So we have to see it in that sense. Even in these four lines, what do you see? May you know that alone to be Brahman, which is not revealed by speech, but by which speech is revealed. So if any Swamiji comes and says, hey, take this particular picture, this is God, believe me, you have come for moksha, this is his ultimate, please take this, and then be done with it. One should not accept that, because it is not an object of any of the five senses. It is not an object of five senses. One has to very clearly tell that Swami, saying that Swamiji, it's very clearly said in Kenopanishad that Brahman, that ultimate thing, is not an object of any of the five senses. How can you give me something like this and then do? Unless he clarifies, saying that no, I didn't know you were an adhikari for the next level. I thought you have come for upasana. That's the reason I gave this. But from your maturity, it looks you've already some of this. You've already attended some of the satsangs, to which you already know this. So no problem. Then I will not give you this. I will give you to the next level. I will give you the next level of knowledge, which is Vedanta. Please come there and attend those classes. So basically, this line is saying that Pancha Panchabhuta is world, and we are not even talking about world. Actually, we are talking about the ultimate, which is the cause of this world as well. We have come across that, and we are talking about Pancha Indriya. The Pancha Indriya cannot reach it because it is not Panchabhuta. The Lord is not Panchabhuta. Lord is beyond Panchabhuta and the cause of Panchabhuta as well. That's the reason you cannot just reach him only through Pancha Indriya. It is not possible because he is not that. That's the reason. And another word what he said is, and uh, not this and that which people worship. So the way it is said is so nice. ऐसे वैसे जो चीज़ बोलते हैं वो सब नहीं है, मान लेना, समझ लेना. So this is the way it is said very clearly, actually, not this and that which people worship. So basically, it is saying that it is creating a vritti, a course correction in the mind for a person who's been always seeing upasana as the method earlier. It makes a correction saying, please understand, the Lord is not someone who can be accessed through five senses. To just give an idea that it is not a small thing. I mean, you get a mobile and that's God for you. It is also God, but it is not God completely because it is a part of it. So that's what is being said. And if you see the further lines also, they are just repetition. If you see mantra 5, 6 and all, they will say the same thing actually. That yeah, please.
Sir, I have one clarification here.
Please.
God is not which can be or experienced through five senses, but in actuality, like as if these five senses are the only way to experience God. So, like, how do I? My conclusion here is, do I disconnect that to reaching God or to reaching moksha? You can go beyond these five senses, because even the knowledge, even the what that even this is only through these five senses.
Agree.
Even this class is when I am attending this class, taking this is through these senses.
Correct.
So I overcome that.
Correct. It's like this. I think that's where right at the beginning in introduction, it was mentioned. Two things were very clearly explained. One is perception, other one is inference. Now, perception is that which is directly seen, by five senses. And wherein, for example, the sunrise and sunset. As far as perception is concerned, we have sunrise and we have sunset, and we enjoy. We can take photos, we can take selfie, we can take everything. We can make a movie out of it also. However, when one examines in details, there is nothing like sunrise and sunset. Sun does not move, it's just that Earth is rotating. Now, when this piece of knowledge is coming in, obviously the idea of sunrise and sunset is completely gone. Now, in this case, the five senses directly do not contribute to this knowledge. The knowledge is coming in because of inference, wherein someone is told that okay, if this is a body which is rotating, obviously there will be some time when you will not be able to see the other thing because it is rotating, so it is covering actually. So when your part of it gets exposed, then it comes in. So it is not a direct perception, but it's an inference. So when inference itself can work wonders like this, without us actually seeing the model, I mean, okay, we can create a model and someone can show the model, that also will help. To some extent it becomes direct perception, but in the absence of a model also one can just imagine. So to some extent mind can imagine certain things and then correct its understanding. That's possible. So when imagination itself is able to give this kind of a benefit, wherein the direct perception is replaced by inference, we can imagine Vedanta is something little bit next to the level of this inference level. That's where it is able to take a person beyond that inference also. So all that Vedanta can do is, one is inferentially it can disprove a lot of these ideas which we perceive. So it can bring inference also as a tool to nullify some of the wrong understandings what we have. So fixation of ideas what we have, they are many. There are many. Some created by practices, some created by maybe some of our Purva Janma Vasanas. We have to just accept that because we are born with a lot of tendencies. And without undergoing some of the earlier experiences, we can never have those tendencies. For example, we might be afraid of certain pattern. I think in psychology this is said. Certain patterns we don't like because we might have been hurt by that kind of a creature earlier. That's the reason we don't like some of those patterns. And it is just in the subconscious. So there has been always a past. But the only thing is when you go to the ultimate past, you'll have to merge with present and future as well actually. So whenever you get into ultimate, whether of the past or future of present, ultimate present is ultimate past and future as well. So ultimate is something different. All of us have issues only when we are in the intermediate. When you are in the ultimate, you have no problem actually because you are already ultimate. So in the intermediate only we have problems. So that is how we have to understand that five senses are definitely useful to enjoy world. Absolutely no doubt about it. But to elevate oneself beyond this, what is happening in front of us, to really understand, for example, even if we go to the level of what is this? Quantum physics, you have to go a little bit beyond perception and little bit maybe more closer to the level of inference and the next level to be able to give up the idea of physical things actually. Because quantum mechanics, I think the way it is talking today is that it is saying that without a direct connection in terms of a physical connection between two objects, they can interact. So they're calling it quantum entanglement or whatever. They can interact. And if when astrology said that Jupiter creates some kind of an effect on your life, people used to laugh actually, saying, how come Jupiter can create some kind of a thing in my life? So now when quantum entanglement says that no, there are certain objects, they have kind of an entanglement, they do interact and they do affect each other. Is something they are saying, and the distance can be remote. It can be any distance actually between these two. So even if that kind of a thing is explained, that is still samsara, that is still world. Even if a great thing like that is established, even if E is equal to mc square is understood, it is a brilliant thing, no doubt about it, but it is still world. It is all a part of the physical world. And what we are talking is something to objectify that this entire physical world is anitya. So that's where inferentially we are going to the next level. The world what we see is anitya, and If at all there is something anitya, it has to have a basis. And if that basis itself is anitya, then that becomes like a infinite regression. That's not possible. There should be one thing which is self-evident and permanent to even create something which is impermanent. That's where the Shastra is leading us towards. So that's where it says Nitya Vastavekam Brahma Tadvyatiriktam Sarvam Anityam. That is what was said in Viveka Chudamani. So there's one thing which ultimately exists. So it points out to that, anchors everything into that, and then makes us perceive that, okay, what is this permanent thing? And Kenopanishad starts saying, okay, the permanent thing is this, and it is that which cannot be touched by objects, touched by five senses. It cannot be reached by five senses. But five senses definitely can be used by a combination of inference plus plus plus. And that's what Vedanta is able to help us with. And it's very clear. Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. This is said somewhere actually. I do not know where it is, but then I've learnt it from our gurus. So Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. Mind is the place where the locking is happening, where the ignorance is. That's where it creates bondage. Everything gets created only through that. That's the reason mind is the only place where moksha also can happen. Mind is the only reason or cause which can actually be responsible for moksha as well, because that's where the problem lies. So Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. It is as much the cause for bondage, as much it is for release, liberation as well. So that's why the mind is very important. That's what is getting addressed. So mind has to be told that it is a product of this world, and the great mixture there is that it is a product which has beautiful antahkarana. That is the beautiful thing actually. So somehow when this panchabhuta undergoes panchikarana, when it undergoes change, at the gross level it becomes body, at the subtle level it becomes mind. This senses. So that's a beautiful thing. There's no doubt about it. One can write a poem, one can write song, one can write anything based on this. Fine, that's a beautiful thing. But still that is temporary. That's what has to be understood. It is a beautiful thing, but it is beautiful because it is borrowing the cognitive ability of consciousness, which is oneself. That's the beauty actually there. The beauty is coming from that. For example, if you have to give a gross idea, always space is an amazing idea to take always. If for example, we like any physical place, for example, you can take the Dubai Tower, or any golden necklace, or any of the place in New York, or wherever it is, a very beautiful place, whatever you think of as a complex. The basis of that is that someone has provided land and that space. On that, everything is built. So the basis of that entire thing is that space actually, in which everything is coming. So the beauty, or the ownership, or the main ingredient, we can call it, is basically that particular thing on which everything else is based. I think that's why there was one company which always used to say, whenever laptop is made, they used to say, please say Intel inside. Intel inside. So that everyone understand, बॉस जो चल रहा है वो प्रोसेसर की वजह से चल रहा है भाई. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दैट. ऐसे नहीं कि पूरा आप लैपटॉप देख लोगे एंड यू विल ओनली प्राइज माइक्रोसॉफ्ट और डेल एंड अदर गाइज. एक्चुअली अपना देखो, अपना भी याद रखो. बिकॉज आई एम द मेन तत्व इन दिस एक्चुअली. Without that processing, nothing helps, nothing works in computing. Please understand that. So that's what is being said. So that guy said very clearly saying, boss, आप ऐसे करोगे क्या, उसमें चाप हो Intel inside. Actually, so Lord has, what he has done? Lord has given Upanishads which says Intel inside. and this Intel inside part on us, we do not see as a, I don't know what you call it actually. Green we make on our skin. No? What do you call it in English? Tamil, I know. What do we call it? Anyone? Ashish or Mahadev? we make this green color marks, no? You write and you do many things, no, on our skin. What is it called? Sorry?
Correct, correct. I will tell you, sir. That's writing, correct? Writing on a hand.
Oh, normally they used to use this green leaves. Tattoo.
Tattoo. Mehndi, henna.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. Those days it was, using that green, the green leaves actually. Henna is one thing. They used to use maybe some other leaves also. They used to poke actually. All the tribal women, they used to do that actually those days. That was their occupation. So, tattoo. So, just imagine Lord, putting one thing, consciousness inside. As a tattoo when we are born. And whenever you see your hand, you have to understand ये tattoo inside क्या है भाई, तुम्हारे इसमें भी लिखा है, मेरे इसमें भी लिखा है, ये क्या है भाई, एक बार समझा दो. Then ideally they would have gone to Upanishad over a period of time. So, यार tattoo के बारे में उधर लिखा हुआ तो उधर जाके पढ़ लो. Just like Intel inside. Just imagine. So actually you see it is like that. But anyway, I think for us to realize that Intel inside or tattoo inside is there, that's where samsara gives us experiences where we go towards understanding the tattoo inside, where we go towards understanding the consciousness inside from the problems which samsara gives. That is the tattoo actually. So from where we understand नहीं भाई कुछ तो problem है. I feel I want to be happy, and I have problems continuously which keeps me away from being happy. This is not a situation which I like, and if I don't like this situation, obviously there should be a way out. That's the reason I don't like this situation. So I have to find out what that method is. This is how people move away a little bit from the world, pause, and then look at the other side to understand what kind of solution we have. That's how one stumbles upon Vedanta. And one stumbles upon, then that's where Vedanta takes over. It says, yes, all this while you have been believing and living using five senses as the only basis of experience and happiness. That's where the problem is. Please understand, five senses are subservient. Subservient to whom? To that ultimate cause to which everything else is because. The ultimate cause is that, and everything else is because of that. So it gives this clue and inferentially makes us move away from some of the fixed ideas which mind has. All that is happening through Vedanta is, it is killing all these fixed ideas, the ideas which are fixed into our mind and which are wrong. If there is a right idea which is fixed, it doesn't disturb it actually. If, for example, a person comes and says, I don't have any doubt, Aham Brahmasmi, I am very clear about. Vedanta has no role to play. Vedanta, it need not even say by. In fact, even that person will not even come and say, ideally, if you ask me. So Vedanta has no role to play. Vedanta has a role to play only when there is a problem. When there is a wrong understanding, Vedanta has a role to play to correct the understanding. Nothing more it has to do. So that's what this line is all about, where it says that speech, which means one of these five sense organs, actually can reach this. And in fact, these sense organs, they depend on that ultimate actually. Please understand that. That's what it is saying. Yes, Ashish, want to ask something?
Yes, of course. On this only, actually, I have one question.
Yeah.
So there is one thing called Guru Mantra.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that, okay, Brahman is something which cannot be described by word or something. But what is the importance of Guru Mantra then? Because like Guru Mantra, Guru, he said then, he says you chant daily and then you will be. So it is only for the Chitta Suddhi, or it has some other importance also?
It is basically an anchoring. See, in our sadhana chatushtaya, there is something called samadhanam. So we have in the third one, we have Shamati Shatka Sampattihi. So it says Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. So Samadhana is single pointedness of mind towards the pursuit. That single pointedness of mind is very important actually to crack. See, the energy that is required here is an amazing energy that's required. For example, if we use a torchlight kind of a frequency, it will dissipate as it touches our skin. Whereas if we have to work upon a stone which is inside and you have to kill it, you have to hit it, you have to use a laser light. The frequency is completely different because it has to penetrate inside. Normal light will just get reflected from our skin level itself. But the utility we want is what? We want to kill some of the kidney stones inside. So you have to use a different kind of light which is at a different frequency, which can penetrate through the skin, reach that hard stone, and interact with it to kill. It's more, if you ask me, it's more a mechanical process. If you ask me, it's just the light you are using to kill it. That's what you are doing. So any kind of a pursuit, depending on what is the objective, the efforts have to be in line with that. The energy of the effort has to be in line with that. For example, in martial arts, when we are taught to punch, okay, you don't punch just like, unfortunately I don't have the video, I'm not able to show. So we don't punch keeping the fingers, quite loose. We don't do that. There is a part of, the way we clasp our, the fingers, the way we make a kind of strong mutti, we call it, no, is a technique. You have to bring all this energy together and then give the punch that delivers the energy completely. So this is a gross example. Similarly, when a sadhaka goes to a guru, he is in a particular place in the spiritual journey. He is in a particular level. Depending on that level, that guru has to give the appropriate thing to that person. If a person is still wanting a form kind of a lord, then that person has to be given either a Hanuman or a Rama mantra or Krishna mantra, depending on whatever form that person likes. If that person is someone who's come beyond forms, then he can be given just one Om. That is more towards Nirguna. So Om itself is more than enough. So the guru can modify that depending on which level, which place the person is. So as I was saying, there is a distance to be traveled. Depending on how much closer you are to that concept, that appropriate knowledge, appropriate tool is given. So when a Guru Mantra is given, it is an anchor for increasing that samadhana, that particular concentration, creating that intense energy towards one's own pursuit. That's all. That's all. And that's a great help. So just imagine, all the while you are stuck somewhere and you want to help with your punctured wheel in the car, and there is a simple way to open a particular nut. When one of this nut is probably kind of rusted and you're not able to open it. So someone passing by, a mechanic, he just says, boss, आपको मतलब ये जो कर रहे हैं ये टेक्निक गलत है. Don't do this. The simple thing is, instead of doing it from the left side, just do from the right side. It will work. For example, normally we move from left to right. Clockwise we must be doing this rotation to lock, depending on the thread actually. But many a times, because of the movement, the direction of movement, since these nuts and bolts should not get loosened, the thread is created in the other direction, so that it can only get locked further and not get unlocked. Okay, this knowledge should be known to a person, but normally we know that we always turn clockwise to screw something. So when we don't know this knowledge, we will keep on trying that way only. Unlock karne ke liye we will be doing it unclockwise, and then we will not be even thinking that yaar dusre side bhi try kar lo ek bar. But when a person who knows this trick, he comes and says, boss, do it the other way. Job is done. All that he has told you is just one simple technique, do it the other way. So you had all the capability, but what changed was the direction. So when a guru gives something, he is giving something wherein he is making you channelize every energy to make it useful and anchor it. That's more important. That simple idea, though simple, it's going to help you crack what you want. That's all. That's all. Otherwise, every ingredient to put the energy to rotate, everything was in you. To only to rotate in the right direction was the input given. Nothing more. Everything else was with you only. So this is why, this is how, as I keep always saying, ignorance is located in the mind. Shastra has to only point out that ignorance. Otherwise, every ingredient is in us, with us only. This is how it works. And to conclude what I was saying, to address Ashish's point, so Ashish, it helps you are right in getting the right Chitta Shuddhi and proceeding in the journey wherein all our energies, they are focused, and a focused energy is a prerequisite in this particular journey. So after doing all that, as I said, you may either get into bhakti or you may get into whatever, you will almost nullify world as anitya and as tuchha. A lot of this problem comes only from world, and if you have already rendered world as tuchha, you are outside of the problems. But you are only in hibernation at this point in time. It doesn't take even more than 1 second for entire world to come back and make you feel that world is really real. Wife will come and bang the head saying, बहुत हो गया meditation, चुपचाप आके कॉफी बनाओ. then then reality hits. अरे यार संसारा तो जा चुका था. With one bang it has come back यार. Earth is also real, Jupiter is also real, Mars also real, Sun also real, Moon also real. So we only get into hibernation with all Guru Mantra and everything. The last part of Vichara and Aikya have to happen to make this journey non-returnable journey. Otherwise, until the last micro distance is covered and Aikya is attained, world has all the capability to come within that nano patli gali. That nano patli gali is very dangerous actually. Don't leave any patli gali between you and the Lord. Don't leave any patli gali. That's where we are saying, take Dvaita Bhava, no problem. Set your journey. So the Dvaita Bhava, any guru may give most of the things which is more Dvaita Bhava, no problem. Take Dvaita Bhava to eliminate world. Eliminate as much as possible. World is anitya, because when I am with the Lord who has created me as well as the world, what kind of world I need? I don't need. I have the creator in front of me who can chopify as many notes as possible. So when I'm with RBI, why do I worry about money? RBI can print as much money as possible. That's why, that's why as a country, we never worry too much about, money. We can just print. What is the big deal? Yes, we can also work towards it to create economy. That's not a problem. So that kind of a confidence, right? You are with the creator. Print. You can print as much as possible. Create as many words as possible. So the creator is next to me. In bhakti, you bring the creator next to you, and that's kind of a nano distance, you can say. Nano distance. But that is good, no? Like, I think even when we embrace our kid or our parent, mother, father, or kid, whosoever, even though we embrace them, there is always a nano distance. Even there, even in the physical distance, there is a nano distance. Even there. So, as much also when you think Lord Rama is with you, yes, definitely he is with you. Mentally, he is just with you. But then in reality, you, by your own conclusion, you are seeing him as apart from you. That distance has to be traveled. That distance has to be nullified. And that can happen only through knowledge. As I said that, you have been thinking you have to turn clockwise. Someone has to say, boss, us taraf, dusri taraf karo, khatam baat. That's what one has to say. Otherwise, everything else is in you and you are that. Not even in you, you are that. So that's what it is saying actually. So basically, Vedanta has to only call the bluff wherever it is. And in our normal life, we obviously go with the default understanding and there's nothing wrong in it. And even after the understanding is corrected, we can enjoy life. For example, we know how a movie is made. We know that artists, as a child, we used to think these guys, jump, these guys do that, and the next one they immediately grow a beard. We used to think all this actually. But then later, when we could understand, okay, no, this is all video and these guys are intact and no one died actually. And those days we could never even think if someone died, actually, how come he made another movie after that? Anyway, I think that's where we were, that's the level we were in those days. But after that, at a particular point in age, you come to know that no, this is all picture and guys are all intact. This is what happens. And we know that it is just that it's movie. Something is moving and light is intact. The image is moving because the base is moving, and this particular base which is moving and something which is the image also which is moving makes us feel that something live is happening there, which is totally a false thing. If you bring science in your mind and then go to a movie, you will never enjoy it. When you bring science and when you see everything as the basis, you will never enjoy the movie at all, actually. So somewhere, even though we know it's a movie, we give ourselves to that. We don't worry about the movie and technology of making a movie at that point in time. When we go there, we only enjoy the impact of it. So we give ourselves to Maya at that point in time, though we know very well that it is Maya. So similarly, when one understands, when Vedanta calls the bluff and we understand it, still a person can enjoy samsara as much as we enjoy a movie, though we know that it is not true. So with this, I conclude uh, what I wanted to mention. Any more points for discussion we can take up? Fine. If you don't have anything specific, then we can conclude if that is fine with you all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om,
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.